fashion. My story is a bit unusual. I have been to school like you. I was a full science student. Fortunately, unfortunately, reason my story remains a little bit untold, unseen, and unusual because there were no cameras, no phones during my time way back in 80s. And I don't put much in Google too. So AI can't find out much about me going forward as well. I lived in a childhood, it's not, guys? Okay, so here, I lived in my childhood. Today, they were hunting by arrows, searching for their food. One of the most advanced species in the world when it came to maintaining health. They knew the nature, they knew exactly what they were eating, and they loved the color red. They were caught once by the government, but during this time of my life, I lived in nature, had fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. I can imagine no power in the night after 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. We were put to bed at 9:45 every single day. And that led me to believe that we can love with minimum and we can love still being very happy. We did plant trees too at that time, which we talk about today, that we must preserve the nature. Nature can be preserved by us, of course, using AI, but we in the room have a role to I'm pretty taught to be disciplined, taught to be staying, aspired, as I said, to be an engineer or a doctor. And that is something which we have to focus as we go forward. As I transitioned, as I was introduced, being a chef, I moved into corporate world. And when I moved to the corporate world, I must tell you that I used to almost end up sleeping on the chair. I need to work a little bit more because as a chef, you really work a lot. But I stayed focused and I stayed to work and to create experiences for my students and open a baking school. In the baking school, those days, nobody liked to learn from people who don't look elder, the teachers. So I had to put on a chef cap, nobody can figure out my age, and they will learn with me for 5 days. When I take out my cap, so you're the guy who was teaching us for the last 5 days. So coming back to what I learned in this message is all about to be sure twice, then confident once. I think all of us, when we work toward AI systems or processes and so on in our lives, I always say, whatever you do, be sure twice, then confident once. And that is a message that I follow till today in my life, whether it's corporate work, designing factories, whether I build offices, or I learn new things too. And that was by learning AI as well in our lives. As you know, evolution is must. I know as the introduction video spoke about that evolution is happening. Is it scary? Is it going to be helping us? Is it going to destroy us? Is it going to be living with us next door? And for me, that is, I always say, life for us, just consider you're a spot on a chessboard. Every move you make, you're going to have a multiplier effect of the last one. So the technology is going to change so frequently at such a fast pace, where if you not embrace it and you will not live with it and learn to abide by it, I think we all will get either outdated or we will not exist. So change is coming. So I think it's good for all of us to embrace the change too. Now, all of you know, historically chatbots came now, you can see all types of things happening, and people will pick up a phone and call to book a airplane ticket, or you want to call a bank, they say, no, please talk to operator. During my time, we used to hire and recruit people with the most beautiful voices. It didn't matter how they look. Either you could speak sweetly, convincingly, and politely, and respectfully, we were able to service our customers efficiently well. And that is where we learned that customers, again, need to connect emotionally. And if you connect with them, they look after you, they feel they looked after. And that is where I feel today when we are greeted by a voice on the phone on the other side. I'm not sure how much patience do we have to go through the whole process of an automated system. So here again, going forward, AI may have to capture how do we bring in those beautiful voices back? How do we make them? People talk about all types of AI, but I talk about dynamic AI. How the AI can be dynamic. They can react to a person on the other side with the same level of emotions what the other person is expressing, so that he can really or she can feel connected. As you can see, the future of customer service, that's what we expect to happen from moving into the business going forward. So that's what is going to be the future. Now, as you see here, as a chef, when we were buying the stuff on the kitchen, we go to any of the flight kitchens, any of the stuff you go, what happens when you receive the raw material, you will have to check everything by hand. It will depend on the skill of the person who was actually receiving the material. But today, with AI and technology coming in with smart code, with printed QR codes, with printed electronics, we're able to make it better. So certainly, the skill we had will not be taken over by AI going forward. It will not only simplify life, it will create more trust in the system. But I always say, we are all Indians, most of us. We always say we trust each other, but we still put 6 locks on a suitcase. So I think the trust is going to be something going to be unique coming out of AI going forward, and that's the belief we have to have. But human brain can only think so much. And we also looked at science in our business of processing the food processing industry. What happens is that you have to be able to service your customers well. Now, there are only few organizations in the world who today pick by piece. That means when they deliver products to the stores which you buy from, those are being picked by piece. And there's something which now can be automated using AI. I visited a warehouse in Italy recently where now there's no human interaction at all. The robots do everything. They pick up from the warehouse, bring it to the place, and they pick it up and they go deliver it. So again, an adopted AI, and also going forward by creating these warehouses in metaverse. People have been talking about experiences in the metaverse. Recently I was exposed to food wars, and the food was coming up in the UAE as well. We have a new metaverse of food manufacturing companies. That's where we see that the world is moving in that location. We also find that digital twins are getting created. Of course, it goes back to AI ethical code, whether I'm going to be able to put my knowledge and my IP into the system which AI will learn everything about me. And that's a path we have to be careful with. So I still say I want to remain human. I need to adopt AI, but how do I bridge the two together so that we can create something which is more sustainable? Customer understanding. All of us are customers to either one each other, or we are customers to our vendors, or we are customers in one form or the other. We are very much dependent as a customer to be cared for. Like even if you want to go buy vegetables from a vegetable vendor, you really want him to look after you well. You the right tomatoes, the right onions, the right. You go buy dresses, you buy your fashion clothes, you really want to be cared, you want to go to designers. Why do you go to designers? Well, you want it customized, you want it personalized, you want it to be for who you are, what you want to be, and what you would like to feel good with. And that is understanding today, which is going to adopt itself as the machine will continue to learn, continue to adopt, continue to learn our emotions and our way of life. We are pretty sure that AI will one day come, and there will be integration of the customer expectation, customer understanding, customer belief will go get translated and merged with AI. So we have seen recently some cases, a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, where you could actually go to a show home, no need to build a show home anymore. You can just go and look at the home, you can put on your computer, you can pull out a drawer, you can see how the water will look like, and that's become quite prevalent today in the world of AI. But I'm still not sure, of course, this has got further complicated by people like who are delivering things to you. So we have a habit now to order, comes home, and then you reject it. You could not do this earlier. So I think why AI is helping us to be more selective and be able to use our brain, but it's important that we remain still part of human. I think one thing which has certainly helped us and helped, I think, the new generation like yourselves, or who are the future for me, because I'm now, I think, going to look at how you guys will contribute to the future, is important that it will reduce the time for training. I think training has been one element in our lives, especially living in the region like we live. Training is a continuous process. And I must tell you here, I was actually fortunate not to go to any universities in my life. So unlike all of you aspire to going to university. So my training was given by people. People are my school. And that is what I'm here to learn today from you after the session from the rest of the speakers. As we move forward, this looks a bit scary, right? If you're going to be sitting in a room of negotiation, on the other side you have a robot negotiating with you. He or she will have far more knowledge. I recently had a case study in Germany where, by German law, the court did not allow to the friend of mine who was actually reconstructing his heritage house. He wanted to change the roof. He was sitting in front of the lawyers, and the lawyer said, no, you can't do it, it's never been done before, and we can't allow you. He went to ChatGPT, posed the question, he got 4 reference cases on his phone. He told the lawyers, here are the 4 cases, and now, how do you do? They have no choice but to agree. So certainly, the knowledge base, which is coming into the business, into either AI or ChatGPT, is all about setting the right coding, right triggers to be able to get the right output. We say garbage in, garbage out, and same thing in our business. So if you put the right coding, you'll be able to rightly get the right answers. And that is the skill one has to have. But let's be cautious. All of this in this room, let's say we combine the age of everyone, let's say we've got 2,000 years of knowledge in this room. But the 2,000 years of knowledge sitting in this room will be worth nothing in front of an AI collectively. And that is a challenge. And that's my worry. Because we spoke in the original video about the jobs being lost, what will happen to build jobs, and so on and so forth, how we going to negotiate, there will be no more secrets, there will be no more IP, there will be no more all sorts of boundaries. So let's get prepared that it's coming. Let's get prepared that more data-driven we are, better we will be, and more capable we make it to embrace it to ourselves, better we will live with it. Because it's better that we use it to our advantage than to our disadvantage. Now you can imagine, simply in your office, when you grow up out of the school, you may have your colleagues who are actually not your colleagues. They're just robots. And it can happen, and it will happen. I'm not doing it today, I'm not doing it tomorrow, but let's say I live my life for the last 40 years in this business. For the next 40 years, I'm pretty sure this will come. And I think you can't avoid it. And that is where the machines will come to closer to the human element and human aspect, which I know many LLMs are being developed around the world today to capture the emotions, capture the feelings, capture how we think and how we speak and different dialects. So I think it's very important that we keep our emotions in control and we coexist and use as a co-intelligence tool rather than something which we don't know. So I think that's something we should be looking at that aspect. Just imagine if this was your boss one day in your office. He had everything on his fingertip. He knew how much sale you have made, how much business have you done, what have you created. So what will you do? I think there's something which you can't ignore. Of course, I'm pretty sure human element will always remain. We still like to touch each other, feel each other, shake hands with each other, and we still like to hug each other, and we still like to pray, and we still like to do many things ourselves as a human being. So I think humans will coexist definitely, but definitely some of the jobs and some of the processes will get automated to extent that there'll be virtually no humans required for those jobs. And that's one thing which you have to be called. I still make an effort every day and every year to meet 600 new people every year. And I make that conscious effort as a KPI for myself, for they are my school. And I still need to stay connected with people to learn. And that's exactly what AI and LMs are doing. They're trying to connect to people like us and trying to see that how we can, how they can learn from us and give back to us. You know, that's how this all works. Coming from the food industry, there's been a lot of discussion around food waste, and what you eat is what you become. We spoke in the morning in the school that we are talking about how do we look after our well-being, how do we look after our health, what do we eat, how our neurosystems will work, and how the neurological things will continue. And I know many years ago there was neuroscientific trial being done for the food. Just imagine you went to a shop which had a Christmas aroma, Christmas feel. There's a shop next to it, did not put the fragrance, did not put the right atmosphere. The sales were almost like 10 to 1. But we are still a neurological people, we still like to go through our neurological science. And food is certainly being seen as a contributor to what we do. And being a chef myself, I think for us, as I always say, I want to remain a chef all my life, whatever I do. And definitely, I believe that even Michelin star chefs now are actually creating new food. I came across a chef recently who created an entire menu built by AI. Not only the build, but the design, the process, the team, the presentation. And now they are serving that in the Michelin star restaurant, for example. So definitely it's coming. And when we are creating cakes for myself, when I was creating the cakes and desserts, I was carrying all those data, all those learning from every single consumer and trying to create something magical for them. But now with Internet of Things, with all sorts of tools available, I came across recently where you have food waste in your kitchen or you have remaining food. There's a new app being developed where you key in the ingredients in your kitchen and then will come up with a recipe for yourself for the day. In the past, it was my mother, what she would offer, she's no more, but if she was the one who was doing it, she didn't even take off the peel of the peas and make things out of it, she didn't take off whatever is not being wasted. But today, who has the time in the new generation? And who has the time to think? Who has the time to go through the life? And that is where I think AI can help values to youngsters in the future, mothers and future families in that direction. And certainly, I believe you'll find soon AI in your home, which already exists through Echo and Amazon and so on. But what I see today is you will be able to cook the food which you like to eat using the waste which you have in the fridge. And I would really encourage each one of you, when you go back home, when you go to the kitchens, one thing I learned as the first discipline I introduced into my kitchen, open the fridge, look at what is expiring, look what is getting old, look what has not been eaten, take that out first, make sure it's consumed first, so that nothing is wasted. I would encourage each one of you, AI will come into your lives, but it's better that we get habituated as a human being first before the AI takes over our kitchen. But there is hope. There's a hope. And I always say to all of you in this room, there's a hope that in the new digital world will further ignite more passion. We're going to certainly ignite more thought processes. Certainly will allow us to accept more what we are not accepting today, but we see it either a threat or as a worry. We are not sure what AI will do to our lives. We don't know that today. But definitely there's a hope. And what my only hope, which I have, is to have a balanced society. How do we balance the AI and humanity together so they coexist and we are able to maximize the best out of the technology which we have to live with? This is how I think an overlap will happen over time with the human brain, and We spoke about in the morning about heart and brain. I normally say when I speak to my team, I always tell them I want a full body commitment. I don't want it, my heart is in it, my mind is in it, my hands are in it. I want a full body commitment. And that's what I feel over time, that's what's going to happen. Each one of you in this room, as you go forward, you have to see that this is coming. But what I also believe, what took us so many years for me personally too to reach where I am today in front of you, I think that life and decades will get shorter and shorter as the technology will become at a pace which we will not be able to fathom if we are not ready for it. And certainly that's where I see the future going. In today's state of mind, we spoke about the past, speak about the future, but going today, in the industry which I come from, food is essential. We all know that. I met some young students in the morning who do medicine. Of course, food and medicine have to coexist. And of course, we can't ignore the beauty part. But we all want to look good, especially after the COVID. Because we all want to look nicer. I was told recently in UAE, all the plastic surgery went up very high and a lot of technology came into the picture and a lot of people are trying to do what they do. But in our food business, what I see today with UAE and the neighboring countries, there are a lot of requirement of using AI in agriculture, using AI in what we are living our life, using robotic taxis and so on and so forth. So certainly, AI will help us to optimize supply chain, what we experience as human beings, but to make our processes better, make our decisions also smarter. But again, I go back to what I believe personally is, whatever we all do, we must remain and maintain the element of human being into it. That's what makes us different. And whatever AI will do, we are dynamic people. No? We behave every day different. I don't think each one of you behave consistently the same way, smile the same way, laugh the same way throughout the day. So as long as the AI will not adopt to that sort of a behavior, I think humans will have a place to live forever in the middle world, but we'll have to be able to work on it better. This is, I see the interaction, as you see this in the movies. You see movies like Star Trek, I guess. Many of you have seen other movies in the past, which are movies before, now they became reality. And I think going forward, you will see that humans will start interacting with the virtual world or with so-called robots. And you might find, which people still have to do, still the AI robots are all metal, right? They don't have any flesh and bones in them. They don't have flesh and bones, they're not so flexible as we are as human beings. So one of the skills, I think, which I would like to keep saying to myself, that more flexible I am, more available I am, more I will learn, and more I will learn, I will continue to grow. And that is something which AI will have to learn over time. And this will be something the future will evolve. You know, we have seen movies with head of half robots and half human beings. You shouldn't be surprised that it is going to be the future with all sorts of cellular science, where the meat is not grown in the lab. I don't know how many of you know that the meat is grown in the lab now. They're growing chicken in the lab, they're growing coffee in the lab, they're growing milk in the lab. So I'm pretty sure sooner or later, this will also happen one day. The topic of me giving a topic of the conflict, igniting the unseen. I think we're not seen a lot. We don't know. Is it a dark hole? Is it going to be a longer journey for us? But we are all heading towards it. And we don't know how deep this is going to be. We don't know how far it's going to be. We do not know how we're going to reach there. But if we want to reach there, we want to be there, we want to be part of it, we have to again go back and embrace it and overlap with our knowledge and overlap with what we are doing and trying to be friends with it. I think that is where I say the world will move. I'm a believer of sunrise. So I think there's a hope. And there is a hope and there is a requirement that we need to embrace as long as the sun is shining, as long as the sun is setting and the moon is rising, that all the evolution with AI will be all about behavior assessment. Today is all about behavior assessment. It's all about what has happened to a common man using ChatGPT. It's nothing new. I used to publish in India in 1991 my magazines in 8 languages without Google translation. We used to deliver products and recipes and products and magazines to everyone on the street, spoken on the language they were coming from. And so it is indeed possible. But I'm still not sure when I speak to the tech companies, they say, okay, we're still looking at translation, printing recipes and printing magazines using AI, for example. But there's more to exist. So this is all what I am. I'm just, nowadays I say I'm a plumber and a fisherman because I did my life with all of you, but I thank you so much and I hope it was inspiring for you.